So my solicitor isn't listening to me. What can I do? I hear this question quite a lot, actually. And I'm just going to put sort of people who work in this arena because it happens to me too. It just does. So I just kind of want to just be your voice. Be your voice of reality here, because there could, for a start, okay, to err on the side of caution, there could be a number of reasons why your solicitor or your Mackenzie friend like me or your barrister may not be listening to you, okay? But there will come with a massive caveat. So first of all is that you might have unrealistic expectations. We've all been there. You've either joined an internet group, or your mate of a mate of a mate's said, I wouldn't put up with that if I were you. I think you should be entitled to X, Y, and Z. And so, yeah, I can do that. I should be entitled to this. Or, or you feel that what you may be having zero contact, but God damn it, you want full custody. Whatever it might be, you may very well have unrealistic expectations. What I often tend to say in this arena is it feels different to reals. I spend a lot of my time in court sort of just translating what's going on. The judge may be saying X, Y, and Z, but actually what they're trying to tell you is this. When a social worker says something or puts something in the report, I'm kind of doing the same thing. Well, they're saying that, but you're not focusing on that. You're only focusing on this. And sometimes in this arena, and I do have to say, a lot of legal professionals have a tendency, myself sometimes included, to kind of speak that legalese. You know, I sometimes sit and wonder with some of the legal professionals, I just think, who are you talking to? I mean, it's like you're giving submissions to the court, but they're your client. You know, these people have never been in court before. Most people who go through family court haven't even had so much as a parking ticket. So, you know, I kind of get it. So feels are definitely different to reals. It could be that you're not listening to them. And I've had this happen sometimes, whereby you're saying this is how it goes. And they're like, no, you're not listening to me. You're like, no, I'm listening to you. But this is the way the procedure works. You will need to say X, Y, and Z. And there could be a miscommunication, because sometimes I'm not saying what you want to hear. Now, there are ways of putting things, as always. I think there's a massive dose of just speaking layman's English, you know, like, be real here. There's no need to sort of speak to you in a way that you're delivering court submissions. I mean, no one's here being Rumple of the Bailey. If anyone else got that, am I just literally a dinosaur at this point? I don't know, probably so. Also, some of the things you might be telling your solicitor or your Mackenzie friend like me might be completely irrelevant. You know, I mean, for example, if you're trying to submit evidence and you are absolutely adamant that you need to include that newspaper clippings from the Sun that seems to substantiate your case, and now you're going to make an example, it's not going to happen. So solicitors tend to filter out some of this stuff, because we'll know kind of what the courts want to see and not. And I get it. Oh my God, I get it. Your need to put in the kitchen sink to the court now is real. I totally get that. So I think, with that being said, and joking aside, I think there needs to be, first and foremost, you and whoever you have by your side, whether it's barrister, solicitor, Mackenzie friend like me, you have to feel like that person is by your side. Of course, I'm going to tell you stuff that you need to hear and not necessarily what you want to hear. But I do think there's a way of putting that across without sounding like you're from an episode of Suits. You know, you've got to be relatable, right? You have to be relatable. You've got to bear in mind that people, this is probably the most stressful thing in someone's life. It may be the person that you're assisting in court has had, for whatever reason, all contact stopped with their children. And that's almost a grieving process, but you haven't got anything to say goodbye to. It's very, very strange. So, and there are people who will be scrolling and looking at this through in the morning, people looking for solutions, people looking for answers. To have that somebody that is literally the arm around your shoulder, that I can't stress that enough. I can't stress that enough. I mean, the number of times I've been to court and I've seen people literally on their own, either because they haven't got anyone to help them, or worse, and I get why, but you might have one solicitor that's sort of circulating 3 or 4 people. It could be that. Either way, being left on your own when you're supposed to have someone by your side is not a nice feeling. So I think first and foremost, often the miscommunication, in my opinion, falls out because you're not a team here. Now, listen, don't get me wrong. Sometimes it's not a good match. So, you know, and I tend to find that it is a relationship. I don't care what you say, it is a relationship. And I think sort of what I do is slightly different, I think. I think that as a Mackenzie friend, I deal with slightly different issues to what a solicitor sometimes would deal with, because my meetings tend to be more of the everyday stuff, you know, like for example, I know child comes with a communication book, or there's a parenting app, and one of the parents has put this and this, but has forgotten to mention that the child suffers from asthma or something, and how do I cope with that? You know, they're the everyday stuff. But I think that's important because things can turn on a penny. I know this. I mean, it might be hunky-dory now, but good God, on a flip of a coin, it feels it could end up in court, and you're boom in front making an application to, I don't know, enforce a court order or something. So I think first and foremost, you have to feel like you're a team here, regardless of whether your solicitor or whether your Mackenzie friend, whatever it might be, thinks that what you're telling them is irrelevant, or whether or not your expectations are unrealistic. Because I think if you have that rapport and you feel like you're on your team, you get away with saying, you might need to rethink that, or maybe we can find a different strategy. I spent my entire life sort of, you know, reframing and managing expectations, but I've been doing this for 17 years. So, you know, I think it's really important to understand where you guys come from, and that's first and foremost. If, and this is a big if, I think, because I see this a lot, if you feel that that you're not feeling like a team from the get-go, you may want to consider changing your team. There's no point in throwing good money after bad. And people sometimes say, well, I'm not going to change my legal team because, well, they know too much about the case, or I'm too far in now, or we're in the middle of a case. It doesn't matter. This is your life. It's a bit like if you were to build or get someone to build an extension to your property without those instructions, you can't be surprised when you come home and find the Taj Mahal attached to your property. You take control. I firmly, strongly, passionately believe that you are in the driving seat here. When people go through family court, they feel like it's something happening to them. And when people feel like it's something happening to them, you feel like you sort of go back. You feel like you're on the back foot. I always think that should change, because you should be in charge. So if you are genuinely feeling that your solicitor is not listening to you, and you don't feel that teamwork, I get it's crappy. I get that. You might want to consider just changing it, because you'll look back and go, oh, I wish I'd done X, Y, and Z. Guys, let me know in the comments below. Are you going through this? Have you been through this? Have you changed your legal team halfway through? Have you changed tack completely? I do say that I think being litigant in person can be very, very empowering. I think if you've got a litigant in person, being you are the case, with somebody with clout next to them, it's really powerful. It's really, really powerful. You're not relying on someone to get those details wrong. You are the case. You know who, what, why, where, when, and how, straight away, just like that. So guys, let me know, drop your comments down below. Let me know where you're at with your case at the moment. Guys, I hope that's helped.